university graduate pushing wheelbarrow.
Head of fish, head of the family. It is because you have bad character. That is why that woman left you. That is why your wife left you. You never see anything.
The market was loud and hot that morning, but no noise was louder than the heavy breathing of the man pushing the old wheelbarrow. His back was bent and sweat pouring down his dark skin, and tied tightly across his shoulders were two small babies, 6-month-old twin baby girls. I had seen so many things in this town, but nothing like this. The babies cried softly, their tiny hands grabbing at the air as their father pushed on, his eyes full of pain and tiredness. Every step he took looked like a battle against the world itself. The dust from the dirt road mixed with the smell of fresh fish and ripe tomatoes filled the air, but all I could see was that of a father struggling not just to carry the weight of the babies, but also carrying a pain of heart as his eyes shows. People in the market glanced at him, some with pity, some with disgust, yet he kept moving forward. I remember thinking, how did this happen? Who could leave a man alone like this with two babies? The pain in his eyes told a story louder than words ever could. I was close enough to hear when a woman nearby whispered to another, "That is the man whose wife left him and the babies 6 months ago. The woman just disappeared." They said the wife didn't come back after leaving the babies wrapped in old clothes at the doorstep. I could see the father's sweaty, tired, rough hands gripping the wheelbarrow's handle like it was the last thing keeping him alive. His face was weathered beyond his years, and I knew every day must be full of hunger for those twin babies and for him too. Yet, he never let the babies fall or cry too long. It was as if the pain of being left behind was nothing compared to the love he still held for those small girls on his chest. That day, watching him, I felt something break inside me. Life had dealt him a cruel hand, but he kept fighting. This was no ordinary man. He was a father who had been abandoned but refused to give up. Everybody had something to say as to why the mother of these babies left. But as I moved closer, I noticed that, I think I know this man. What happened next would change everything. But that morning in the market, I only saw a man, two babies, and a heavy wheelbarrow carrying a story of heartbreak and hope. The day the wife left was like a storm that no one saw coming. I remember that morning clearly. The twins were only 6 months old, too small to understand what was happening, but they cried like the world was ending.
Are you leaving us? Please stay. What about the babies?
I don't care about the babies. Do whatever you want with them. I am tired. I am leaving. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me. Leave me. I'm leaving. I don't care. She furiously packed her few belongings in a bag and left without a word to anyone. The whole neighborhood felt the sudden silence after her footsteps disappeared. Their mother didn't look back once. Some said she left because life was too hard. Others whispered she wanted a new start far away. But no one really knew why she chose to abandon the tiny babies and the man who had once promised to love her forever. The father stood there, holding the babies tight as the door closed behind her. His eyes were hollow, and for a moment, he didn't know what to do. It was like all the light in his world has been switched off. After she left, everything changed for the father. He was alone, with no one to help or comfort him. The babies needed food, warmth, and care. But the money wasn't coming. He doesn't have a job. He had no money. No money at all. He began thinking of what he could do to get money to feed his babies. Finally, he decided to go and rent a wheelbarrow from the market union. That is the only thing he could do. He had no siblings, no family member, nobody to leave his babies for. He decided to carry the babies and push the wheelbarrow. My babies are my responsibility. I must feed them. I will push this wheelbarrow. Sometimes I would see him in the early mornings, tying the babies to his chest with old cloth strips, then heading off to the market to work, carrying heavy loads for little pay. He would come back exhausted, his whole body aching. Every day was a battle against hunger and cold nights, with the crying of the babies haunting his sleep. Yet, he never stopped trying. He still smiled at his daughters like they were the only treasure left in the world. Watching him, I wondered how a man could carry such pain, yet keep hope alive for his little girls. The wife was gone, but the father stayed, fighting every day for the twins' survival. How he could get enough money to buy milk for the babies, or at least a bit of food for himself. Sometimes, he would go all day without eating, pushing heavy loads from one end of the market to the other, hoping someone would hire him even for a small job. Most people ignored him.
How is he going to survive all this? Carrying the babies at his back and even pushing wheelbarrow all the way in the market. This man is so funny.
Some whispered that he was weak, that he couldn't care for the babies. And others said that the babies would never have a future with a father like him. How would a woman leave her 6-month-old babies? Oga, you are the problem. I don't want to know. Oh, is these babies and pity? Oh, Oga, you are a wicked man. You never see anything, oh. You have bad character. You've done something. You are bad. And you tell me that you are not the problem. Oga, you are the problem. There were days when the twins' crying was so loud, it seemed the whole market would hear their pain. Yet, every time the babies cried, he stopped and gently rocked them with a tired smile. His face carried tiredness that no rest could fix. But through it all, the father never gave up. He carried the weight of the world on his back, and the babies were his reason to keep moving forward. Sometimes, he would walk to the riverbank to wash their clothes, using cold water that made the babies shiver. He whispered soft words to them, hoping they would understand his promise to keep them safe no matter what. People in the neighborhood watched from a distance. Some shook their heads in pity. Others turned away because the family's poverty was hard to see. Some days, the father had no choice but to ask for help. At the market, he would approach strangers with tired eyes and a shaking hand, asking for just a little money or food. Most people hurried past, pretending not to see him or the babies. Some gave him cold looks, as if blaming him for the woman who had left. But a few kind souls dropped coins in his palm or handed him some yam or oranges or bread. Those moments of kindness were like small sparks of light in his dark world. Still, the father felt the heavy weight of shame pressing on his heart. To push a wheelbarrow all day, carrying his sleeping daughters, and still not have enough for milk or soap was a pain few could understand. The babies grew slowly. Life was never easy for them, but no matter how hard things got, the father's heart was full of love for those small girls. He believed that someday, somehow, they would have a better life. Despite the hunger and the long days filled with work, the father made sure the twins saw the world around them with hope. When he could, he sang old songs, passed down from his own father, hoping to teach the babies about courage and strength. The father dreamt of sending them to school, imagining them wearing clean uniforms and holding book in their hands. Though poverty wrapped their days like a heavy cloak, the father never let go of the hope that education would one day open doors for his daughters. Watching this family from the outside, it was clear that even in the deepest pain, love and hope can survive. The community whispered about the family. Some say the father was weak. Others say the wife was right to leave because he could not provide. But no one saw the endless nights he spent soothing the crying babies, or the tears he wiped away in secret. He carried their future on his back and in his heart, fighting the shame and poverty every step of the way. I remember watching him one evening, the sun settling behind him and his body shaking from exhaustion. There was pain in his eyes, pain for what he had lost and fear for what lay ahead. But still, he did not stop pushing, because giving up meant losing the last thing he had left, hope. The first day the twins went to school was a day the father never forgot. He woke up before dawn, cleaned their little clothes as best as he could, feeling a mix of hope and fear. The school was far and the path was rough, but he wanted his daughters to learn something different from what life had handed him. As he walked, he thought about how he would find money for their school fees and books. Every coin he earned pushing his wheelbarrow had to be stretched to the limit. He prayed the teachers would be kind and that the other children wouldn't laugh at his daughter's torn shoes or faded uniforms. But even with all his worries, his heart was full. Sending the twins to school was a small step toward a future he dreamt for them. When the twins returned home that day, their eyes were wide with wonder. "Papa, Papa, Papa." The father listened, smiling softly, trying not to show how tired and worried he was inside. They told their father about the chalkboards and the other children, about the stories the teacher told. Every evening, he sat by the small fire, listening to the girls practice their lessons while he planned how to earn enough for the next day. Some nights, he would count the few money he had and wonder if it would be enough to keep them in school. Yet, no matter how hard things were, he never gave up on their education. To him, it was a light shining in the dark, the only way out of the poverty that had trapped them all. One early morning, the father dropped the twins at school as usual and went back home to prepare to go to the market to continue his business. His heart immediately skipped as he heard the tiny voice and the tiny steps running with speed towards him. It was just one of the twins running to meet him. Just one. Where is the other twin?
What happened?